two problems. One has been around since the beginning of commerce, the loss of operational institutional knowledge. And problem number two is much more recent. Traditional consulting practices are obsolete. In the US, every day, 10,000 people retire. This adds up to $1 trillion impact to our economy annually. Our corporate memory consists of an assessment, a vision assessment, that it's like an x-ray into your company, where we observe business processes behind the scenes. There's no disruption, and we identify inefficiencies and bottlenecks and opportunities for improvement. And we use multiple technologies to do this. Machine learning, natural language processing, and obviously large language models, as well as process mining. What you're seeing here is from an actual client where we monitored some sales administrators processing sales orders from Outlook into SAP. And the loopbacks and the ping pongs are like the low-hanging fruit for process improvement. Our core IP is called expertise capture. And what we do is basically observe, as I mentioned in the background, the work coming in, we run analytics on the work, and then we observe the worker processing the work. And then we capture the outcome to determine the best practice around processing specific types of work. And that gets stored in the customer's corporate memory. And once we know how to process this work, then it goes down the execution path, whereby we ground train a co-pilot with best practices, as well as generate AI agents to automate the work. And everything you see so far is behind the scenes. As I mentioned, no friction. If there is an exception, then it comes to our agent review, shows up in an email with a link. And this last piece really ties it all together, is when we capture the outcomes after the fact of the transaction. Something like, there might be a complaint that comes in a month later, we're able to track it back and figure out what happened. And that way we make sure we're learning the right way to do it and not the wrong way. So everything on this screen is what the customer gets. From our perspective, we'll actually have best practices of best practices, and we store that in our industry heuristics knowledge base. So we have two offerings. The vision is a 6-week engagement with a 12-month subscription to the dashboard, where we highlight process health, green, yellow, red, inefficiencies, opportunities for improvement. And the customer can run with that if they want, or they can ask us. And it's an upsell to our AI automation managed service, where we work with the customer's IT, and just monthly sprints, we're managing a backlog, just constantly generating improvements. And it's got screenshots of the vision dashboard. And this is our order to cash co-pilot. So our tool is kind of like a Swiss Army knife. It works in any business with a back office. So we decided to narrow down to manufacturing, medium to large size manufacturers, where we observe the process from a sales order all the way through from order entry to invoicing and receivables, cutting across departments. We gather this data, and then we identify ways to improve cash flow, or increase order margin, or shorten cash conversion cycles. And then we train the co-pilot so they can go in and ask questions like this. As we roll out these efficiencies, we see people's time free up. We build a skills matrix around each resource, and we can say, hey, don't let this person go, repurpose them in the direction that the company wants to go in, into a position that may not even exist yet. So we're about job transformation and staff retention. It's a huge market, because we're clearly going to disrupt the global consulting industry, and that's a $300 billion there. AI workflow automation is slated to be $50 billion by 2030. Our current ideal customer profile is North America manufacturers, say 30 million in revenue and up. Older is better because they have more legacy processes. So order to cash revenue optimization is our first offering. We're looking at procure to pay, and the one I'm really excited about is M&A, due diligence, and merger integration, before the transaction and after. I mentioned our revenue model, SaaS for the dashboard, and then managed service subscription. Distribution is through, we're currently in the Microsoft marketplace. We'll be in AWS soon, and we want to build out a channel, and ideally a white label to consultancies, as well as direct. My background, my name is Joe Rogers. I'm the CEO founder, and I have been consulting for a couple decades If you look in the dictionary under founder market fit, it's my picture. So, thank you.